ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणी। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। Hare Krishna, today is the 19th session of Mahabharata.
Probably the last session.
Probably the last session. My voice is clear to everybody because it's raining heavily here.
No, Prabhuji, it's clear.
Here, I'm on the top floor and it is raining and thundering. It's supposed
Prabhuji,
to be
here it's like about to rain. It's
about the
fully
rain.
dark.
For us also rain, Prabhu.
Raining.
Prabhuji,
Okay.
here it just finished raining in Marathon.
Finished. Achha, I think it's coming from your place to our place.
It's coming from Haridwar, Prabhu.
Haridwar.
Prabhu, in Maharashtra, we don't have anything.
No rain. Okay.
No rain, Prabhu.
It's heavy. Every evening it's raining here. We don't know whether it's summer or rainy season. Very strange. Okay. So today is the 19th session, probably the last session. I was trying to keep this as the last session. Let's see. Because when I was just making the points, what I'm going to discuss, it's like a huge list. So let's see how much we can cover today. So if you're not able to cover, then we'll have one more session if we are not able to cover. So last session we discussed about how Pandavas defeated the Kauravas. Pandavas defeated Karna. They defeated Dushasana, Duryodhana. And we also saw some very amazing ways by which Krishna guided Pandavas to victory. So without Krishna's help, nothing was possible. It was impossible to cross over the Kaurava Sainya Sagaram. It is impossible. But by the grace of Krishna, they could cross over the unlimited ocean of the Kaurava army. So after Duryodhana's defeat, what happens? We will see today. So the Pandavas retire. That's the topic today. Let's see if we can try to come to the point soon. So basically many points are there here. First you see here one photograph where Arjuna is punishing Ashwathama. We'll discuss that first. And then Yudhishthir Maharaj and Pandavas meeting Bhishma Dev on the bed of arrows. And Bhishma Dev instructs Yudhishthir Maharaj for 50 days. So that we will see. And then finally the retirement of the Pandavas. So each one of these costumes is very, very interesting. So many lessons to be learned from this. We'll try to cover the important points today. So Ashwathama kills the Pandava army in the night. So that's the first point. So after Duryodhana was defeated on the battlefield, it was night on the 18th day. So Duryodhana was lying there on the ground with his broken thigh. And Pandavas, they went back to their tent. Actually, they didn't go back to their tent. They went to the Kauravas' tent. Krishna said that whenever a party wins, whenever Kshatriya wins, they spend the night in the opposite side. So the Pandavas, 5 Pandavas, Satyaki, Krishna, they all went to the side of Duryodhana's tent. And Duryodhana's tent was huge, but hardly anybody was there. Just a couple of servants here and there. And they went and stayed there. So Krishna said, you make your place here. So Pandavas went to rest, but before going to rest, Yudhishthira tells to Krishna that Krishna, you should go and meet Gandhari tomorrow because we cannot face Gandhari. Gandhari will be upset, and with her mystic powers, she may burn us. It's better you should meet her tomorrow. So they are in Kurukshetra, and Hastinapur is quite far. So Krishna decides to leave immediately in the night. So he travels to Hastinapur on his Ratha with Daruka. So before this, one thing happened. After meeting Duryodhana, after defeating Duryodhana, when Pandavas come to the tent of Duryodhana, so Krishna tells Arjuna, you get down from the Rath. The Rath which was given by Agni. So Krishna tells you get down. So Arjuna, obeying Krishna, gets down from the Rath. And then Krishna jumps out of the Rath, he gets down. As soon as Krishna gets down, the entire Rath, there is fire. It starts burning, and within seconds, it burned to ashes. And Arjuna was shocked seeing this. And he looked at Krishna, what is this? Then Krishna said, actually, many Maharathis were throwing such celestial weapons upon you. How do you think your Rath could withstand? Because of my presence on the Rath, the celestial weapons like Brahmastra, Agniastra, Varunastra, they could not have any effect on your Ratha. And now that the war is over, you don't need this Rath. So by my will, the Rath is destroyed. So hearing this, Arjuna was again grateful to Krishna. He said, Krishna, only because of you that we are surviving. Otherwise, we would have been defeated long back. All of us would have been dead long back. So he expresses his gratitude to Krishna again and again. And then the Pandavas rest for the night, and Krishna leaves to Hastinapur. And then he reaches Hastinapur in the morning, and he straight away enters into the palace where Gandhari was there. And then Gandhari gets the news that all the sons are dead, and Duryodhana is lying down with his broken thigh. So she feels great pain in her heart. And Krishna also consoles her. He goes and touches the feet of Gandhari because she's elderly. See, Krishna is teaching by example that how one should behave. Right? So he is going down to Gandhari. And Krishna tells, see, everything was the destiny because Kauravas headed by Duryodhana, they did such bad activities. It's their destiny that they have died. But be sure that they have ascended to the heaven. Because anybody who dies in the battlefield, he goes to heaven. So all the Kshatriyas, all your sons have gone to heaven. So please be peaceful and give up your shoka. Like that, Krishna consoles Gandhari. Although Gandhari was upset, she was angry, she cools down. So and then Krishna also meets Kunti, Krishna meets several other people. So meanwhile, when Krishna was there in Hastinapur, here Ashwathama, in the evening, he comes to meet Duryodhana. So Duryodhana is lying down with nobody around him. So only 3 people were surviving from the Kaurava side. Right? Anybody remembers who were those 3 people?
Kritavarma, Kripacharya, and Ashwathama.
Correct. So Ashwathama, Kripacharya, and Kritavarma, 3 people only surviving among all the Kshatriyas. So Ashwathama comes and sees Duryodhana lying like this, and even Kripacharya and Kritavarma, all 3 of them are pained in the heart, seeing their king. And then they say, see, destiny is all powerful. You who are giving orders, everybody at one point of time, now you're lying helplessly on the ground, he says. So this is the nature of this world. Sometimes we are kings and sometimes we are paupers. They are nothing. Right? So Alexander the Great, he conquered the whole world in a very short time. But then he also died at a very young age, affected by disease. So nobody is permanently the king in this world. He may be king for some time, but by the power of time, he'll be dead. So they all were speaking some philosophy there to Duryodhana. But Ashwatthama was very much pained in the heart. He said, I cannot tolerate this. Duryodhana, give me blessings. I will go and kill all the Pandavas and I'll bring their heads to you. So like this he said. And hearing the words of Ashwatthama, Duryodhana gets some hope. Yes, he says, Krupacharya, bring some water. So he touched water, purified himself, and he sprinkled water on Ashwatthama and said, you are the commander-in-chief now. You go and fight. So seeing the enthusiasm of Ashwatthama, Krupacharya and Kritavarma also follow Ashwatthama and they ride their chariots and go near the Pandavas' tents. So they come under a tree, people tree was there. So all three of them stay. And they said that, no, we are very tired because of the whole day fighting. So 18th day was like the most taxing day, or most of the Kauravas were killed. So they were tired, so they rest for the night. Krupacharya and Kritavarma go to bed, but Ashwatthama could not get sleep. He was burning with revenge. These Pandavas, they killed my father, they killed my masters and all the brothers. So I want to take revenge. He was burning with revenge. He could not get sleep. He was sitting there with open eyes. Okay. And it is said that on the tree under which they were sitting, there were many crows, hundreds of crows. And there was one owl. And this owl, suddenly it attacked many crows. And within minutes, many crows were falling dead on the ground. Seeing this, Ashwatthama thinks maybe this is the indication of destiny, that I should kill all the Pandavas in the night. So he makes a very cruel plan. Actually, this is against the Kshatriya codes, because Kshatriyas fight when there is daylight. Because in the night, in the battlefield, you cannot see. Nowadays, they play night cricket, night football with all floodlights. But in the past, there was no floodlights. Night means night. You cannot see anything. So they halt for the night, and when the sun rises, they fight. But Ashwatthama makes this plan, and he wakes up, Krupacharya, Kritavarma, get up. And he tells his plan to both of them. And both of them say, this is not good. You're a Kshatriya. You should not do like this. You should fight like Kshatriyas. What is the use of killing people when they are dead? You will lose your reputation. See, Ashwatthama, you are famous as a very powerful Kshatriya, but if you do this very, very heinous activity, people will condemn you, and for eternity your fame will be lost. Don't do this. But Ashwatthama, somehow that inspiration is coming in his heart. He said, no, I'm being forced to do this. I think this is the order of destiny. I'm going. So he put the horses on his chariot, yoked them to the chariot, and they started moving. And Krupacharya and Kritavarma see that Ashwatthama is gone. So they also prepare their chariots and they also wanted to follow. But Ashwatthama, very fast he went to the place where Pandavas' camp was there. And from distance they could actually hear that there were celebrations. They're beating drums and music and dance and everything was going on. They must have nicely eaten and drink wonderful juices, and they had gone to bed. So Ashwatthama, in the middle of the night, he's going to the Pandavas' camp, but something strange happens. At the entrance of the Pandavas' camp, he sees some very dark personality wearing some kind of a tiger skin around his waist, with blood all over, and snake wrapped around his neck. And then there is on his shoulders also there is snake. There is terrifying weapons in his hand. And Ashwatthama, seeing this, he gets scared. Who's he? Then he becomes very fearful and he starts shooting arrows. And this personality, he absorbs all the arrows. Then Ashwatthama takes other kinds of weapons, and all the weapons were nullified by this divine personality. And when Ashwatthama's all the weapons are nullified, then Ashwatthama understands maybe he is my Lord Shiva. So he jumps from the chariot, begs forgiveness, and offers prostrated obeisances to Lord Shiva. So the Lord Shiva, in a very deep voice, speaks to Ashwatthama. He says, Ashwatthama, all your Kaurava army has died because of offense to the Pandavas. And they have all gone to heaven. They have been killed in this war. But now is the time for all the Pandavas army. They are very holy people, pure people, but the time has come for them. See, everybody has to die. Either good person or bad person, both have to die. It is not that good person will stay eternally. Even good person also comes to an end. But the difference between a sinful person dying and a pious person dying is that the sinful person, after death, he'll be suffering his sinful reactions. But a pious person, after his death, he will go to higher regions where he will enjoy pleasures. And those who are pure devotees, they also die. Their body dies, but pure devotees go to Krishna Loka. They go to Vaikuntha. So that's the difference. So here Shiva says that this Pandava army, their time has come, and you will be the instrument for delivering them. So take this weapon and you go and kill. So Ashwatthama became an instrument in killing, and he got so much sinful karma because of doing this. Right? Because he had this desire to kill the Pandavas, and Pandavas' time had already come. So the destiny, the time used Ashwatthama as an instrument to kill everybody, and Ashwatthama gets reaction for that. Right? So, like in this world also, sometimes karma matches like this. Somebody is supposed to lose some object, okay, and there is a thief who will come and steal that object. So by stealing that object, the person will lose. So this person's karma was that he has to lose something, and that person's desire was to steal something. So that person who has stolen, he will get the karma of that sinful karma of stealing. Okay, so like this, the matching will happen. So that's what happened here, that Ashwatthama was used as an instrument for killing the Pandavas. So Ashwatthama takes his sword, which was given by Shiva, and he goes, he charges into the Pandavas' tent, and so many people are there, everybody is sleeping. So he straight away goes to the tent of Drishtadumna. You know, Drishtadumna was the one who killed his father. So he was very angry at Drishtadumna. So Drishtadumna was sleeping. Ashwatthama catches hold of Drishtadumna's hair and he drags him. And when he drags him, Drishtadumna wakes up, but he was semi-conscious. He could not actually understand what is happening. So then by the time he understood that Ashwatthama about to kill him, Drishtadumna says, no, kill me, I'll die like a warrior. Ashwatthama actually doesn't kill him with his weapon. He kicks him and punches him and then kills him. So like this, he kills many other people. So Yudhana and then many other great warriors, he kills them one by one. So, and in this way, he kills the warriors and then he goes to the Pandavas' tent. So the Pandavas were sleeping. So Ashwatthama takes his sword and tuck. Yeah.
Prabhuji, Yuyudhana is Satyaki, right? And Satyaki lived, right?
Huh? No, it is
Prabhuji,
Yudhana.
because Gathari curses Krishna, that and the war in Dwaraka starts between Kritavarma and Satyaki, and then Pradyumna and Satyaki fight, and then they both die.
Yeah.
So Satyaki lives.
Yeah. Just a minute. So it is, after Drishtadumna, he goes to Yudhamanyu, not Yudhamanyu. Yudhamanishcha Vikranta Uttamojascha Viryavan. So Yudhamanyu. So he kills Yudhamanyu and Uttamoja, and then he goes to the tent of Pandavas. And he thought that the Pandavas are sleeping, but at the time, actually Pandavas' sons were sleeping, which he did not know. So he takes the sword and then cuts off the head of the 5 personalities.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Rishi. So then what he does, then by the time all the soldiers wake up, all the soldiers in the army, they wake up and then they come to attack Ashwathama, and Ashwathama kills everybody. And anybody wants to run away, at the time Krupacharya and he was standing, Kritavarma was standing at the gate, and nobody could escape. So like this, everybody was almost destroyed. So in this way, entire Pandava army was destroyed. And it was almost early morning time. Then Ashwathama thinks that I'll give pleasure to Duryodhana by showing the head of these 5 Pandavas. So he comes to the tent and then he picks up the heads and then he understands, hey, this is not Pandavas. Because in the night he did not know who is sleeping. But in the morning he comes to know that these are Pandavas' sons. But anyway, he says, I'll tell that I have killed the Pandavas. So he brings the 5 heads to Duryodhana and he says, I have fulfilled your desire. Duryodhana, I have killed all the Pandavas and Pandava army. So here are the 5 heads. So he keeps the 5 heads next to Duryodhana, and Duryodhana was very happy. And they look like Pandavas, but when he touched the head, it was soft. And when he applied full pressure, they burst. He said, hey, this is not Pandavas, because I know the head of the Pandavas. They're like hard like iron. You wicked fellow, you have killed the sons of Pandavas. All my sons are dead. Now all the Pandava sons are dead. Whole Kuru Vamsha has come to an end. What have you done? So Duryodhana condemned Ashwathama for doing this. Because the whole family of the Kuru Vamsha was depending on these Pandavas and Kauravas, and all their sons were killed. So he condemns Ashwathama like anything. So then, so here, on the other hand, in the morning when the Pandavas get up, at the time, one of the person who was surviving, he comes running and tells to Yudhishthira Maharaj that your sons and entire army is killed by Ashwathama. Hearing this, Yudhishthira faints. He starts crying. Then hearing this, all the Pandavas come out, Bhima, Arjuna, and Sahadev, they come, and when they heard, they also started crying. So they didn't know what to do. So then Yudhishthira says, let's go to our camp. And he tells Nakula, go and get Draupadi. So like this, they all come, and then Draupadi also comes, and when Draupadi sees the scene, she was terrified. So here is Ashwathama going in the tent, killing the sons, and Draupadi sees the heads killed, and then she also faints. And then Bhima gets some water and sprinkles on the face of Draupadi, and Draupadi gets up. She was so angry. She says, I cannot survive. I cannot say this. I will sit here till the time you bring that wretched Ashwathama and his jewel from his head. I will not move from here. Bhima, go! So she says like this. So, and then Bhima was also very angry. He immediately takes his chariot and starts running to get Ashwathama. And by the time Krishna comes, and when Krishna comes to know that Bhima is gone, so Krishna comes from Hastinapur after meeting Gandhari. So then he says, hey, Yudhishthira Maharaj, what have you done? You have sent Bhima. Ashwathama has got powerful weapons like Brahmastra. And Bhima cannot counter them. You should send Arjuna. I will take Arjuna and go and capture him and bring. So Arjuna and Krishna both mount on the chariot, Krishna's chariot, Garuda Dhwaja, on the divine chariot of Krishna. They mount. Daruka is driving, and they go, and then they come to the place, and then they meet. Both Bhima and Arjuna, they meet, and then going. And Ashwathama was scared for his life. He knew that I have done such a murder, and then Krishna and Pandavas are going to come and catch me. So he sat between the rishis. The rishis were there, so he sat in between, wearing the dress of an ascetic and sitting in meditation. But Bhima, when he saw Ashwatthama, he got very angry. He took his gada and he wanted to beat him. But Krishna said, stop. So at that time, Ashwatthama, because he was scared seeing Arjuna and Bhima, so he took a straw, right? He took a grass and he chanted Brahmastra, mantra for Brahmastra, and he threw it. So the Brahmastra flew in the air and it looked like sun blazing in the sky. So that much powerful it was. And seeing this Brahmastra, Arjuna turns to Krishna and says, what is this? Krishna, what is this? You're the all-knowing personality, you're the supreme powerful. Please tell me what is the solution? What should I do now? So he bowed down to Krishna and asked for his suggestion. And Krishna said, Ashwatthama, he has actually out of fear for his life, he has thrown this Brahmastra, but he doesn't know that it can destroy the universe and he doesn't know how to withdraw it. So you shoot a Brahmastra and withdraw both of this. So then Arjuna takes his Brahmastra, shoots the Brahmastra and withdraws Ashwatthama's Brahmastra. Then Arjuna shoots another weapon. See, Arjuna is talking to Draupadi and going. And then, you'll see here Arjuna shooting Brahmastra and withdrawing the Brahmastra. Here you'll see both the Brahmastras are colliding in the sky. And Arjuna withdraws both the Brahmastras and saves the world. Okay. And then Arjuna captures Ashwatthama and brings him to the Pandavas in Draupadi and throws him at the feet of Draupadi. And Arjuna says, Draupadi, tell me, what should we do? Should I kill him? So Draupadi was a very gentle lady. Seeing Ashwatthama in such situation, she immediately remembers Dronacharya. Dronacharya is a guru and is Guru's son. How can we kill Guru's son? So it is not good. So I think better we should leave him. And then she thinks, see, Dronacharya is dead and Dronacharya's wife Kripi, she is alone. So, and Ashwatthama is only son. If Ashwatthama dies, then Kripi will suffer. So I think we should not kill. Now, I am suffering because of loss of my son. So similarly, Kripi, she will also suffer by the loss of this Ashwatthama. And even Brahmanas, Ashwatthama is born in a Brahmana family. So he is a Brahmana. Although he may not have qualities of a Brahmana, but he is a Brahmana son. So by killing Brahmanas, Kshatriyas will incur heavy sin and whole Kshatriya dynasty will get burnt. So like this, she speaks very, very eloquent words of dharma. And she says we should not kill Ashwatthama. Now, so Yudhishthira Maharaj, hearing the words of Draupadi, says, yes, I agree with you. So Yudhishthira Maharaj, Arjuna, Nakula, Sahadeva, Krishna, everybody agrees to Draupadi's words, saying that we should not kill, except one person. Can anybody guess who is he?
Bhima.
Bhima says, "Mera beta mar gaya hai. Ye mera beta ka. He should be killed. He's a criminal." So he takes his sword and is about to come towards. Bhima is standing on the left side. He's about to come with his sword and Krishna is stopping him. Stop. See, Krishna is taking two hands. Extra two hands are coming here. No? Krishna is exhibiting Chaturabhuja Rupa. So with one hand he's stopping Bhima and another hand negotiating with Draupadi. So Draupadi is also telling, stop, don't kill Ashwatthama. See, such a compassion a devotee has. Somebody who has killed son, for him also Draupadi is showing compassion. So this is the nature of a devotee. A devotee can tolerate any amount of pain, but they don't want to give pain to others. That is the nature of a devotee, like Draupadi. Now, there are two parties. No? Bhima was there on one side and all Pandavas on the other side and Draupadi on this side. Now, Arjuna was confused what to do because Arjuna has to take the action. So then at that time Krishna says in Dharma Shastra, as it is said, that somebody who is a Brahmana should not be killed. But at the same time, there is another injunction that somebody who is a Atatayina. Atatayina means somebody who has committed great blunders should be killed. So Atatayina are of 6 types generally. Somebody who has burnt your home. There's one person. So if somebody has burnt your home, you can kill him, not a problem. So that is dharma. You will not get any sin. Second, somebody who has abducted the wife. Third one, somebody has stolen the property. And somebody has killed family relatives. And then somebody has given poison. Okay. And somebody has cheated. So these 6 things are there. So somebody has done these 6 things. He is an Atatayina, and Dharma Shastra say that he should be killed. He should not be spared. So Atatai means aggressors. Okay, aggressors. Those who have done great sinful, like somebody comes and breaks your home and steals property. He is an aggressor. So such person should be punished. So that's what Atatayina. So both of these things are there, Arjuna. So you use your intelligence and then you decide. Then Arjuna is contemplating how to reconcile both these instructions, to kill and not to kill. Then Arjuna comes to a conclusion. Yes, what I will do? I will cut his hair and I will take his jewel. That's what he did. Because for a person who is reputed, to insult him is worse than death. Death is better than getting insulted. So here you will see Arjuna is cutting the hair. He is born like Ashwatthama is born like an animal. Arjuna is cutting the hair and removing the money, and he gives the money to Draupadi, and Draupadi is very happy. Then Ashwatthama was chased away after removing the money from the top of his head, shaving, and in this precarious situation, he was chased away from the tent. And Ashwatthama, being very insulted, he goes away. But Ashwatthama's anger doesn't end. Ashwatthama was still very angry. So Ashwatthama shoots another weapon at the time when Krishna was about to depart from Dwarka. So Krishna, after insulting Ashwatthama, all the Pandavas go to Hastinapur and they were residing there along with Dhritarashtra, Gandhari. So Dhritarashtra and Gandhari were being taken care of by Yudhishthira Maharaj. So at that time, actually, when Dhritarashtra meets Pandavas, he was very angry. He embraces Yudhishthira Maharaj. He embraced all the Pandavas. He wanted to embrace Bhima. So when about to embrace Bhima, Krishna says, stop. He puts a putla, a iron murti of Bhima, and then Dhritarashtra embraces that and he crushes it to powder. So that much power Dhritarashtra had. So when Bhima was very grateful to Krishna, he saved him. But Dhritarashtra again started lamenting. He was feeling, Pandavas, they are virtuous. And he was feeling that I have killed Bhima. And Krishna says, no, you have not killed Bhima. You have just killed his, you have just broken his image. That's all. And Dhritarashtra felt pacified. So Dhritarashtra stays under the care of Yudhishthira Maharaj and the Pandavas. Actually, so many people were killed. So it took about many days to do the funeral ceremonies and to offer Shraddha and everything. It took about almost a month for the Pandavas to offer all these oblations. So when they were doing these Shraddha programs, at that time Kunti comes and says to Yudhishthira Maharaj, when they were entering Ganga, at that time she says, please offer Tarpan to Karna also. He is your elder brother. Hearing this, he was shocked. All the Pandavas are shocked. He said, brother, why didn't you tell us? So then she tells the whole story, what had happened. And hearing this, Yudhishthira was very much pained. Only if you had come to me and told me that he's our brother, we would have stopped this war long ago. Maybe it was the will of the Lord because of which this happened. So like this they think, and they enter the water and offer the holy water to Karna for his departed soul. So in this way, there actually tragedy after tragedy was happening. So like this. So after this whole Kurukshetra, battle was over, Krishna stayed in Hastinapur for quite some amount of time to just take care of things because Pandavas needed him. And at one point of time, Krishna wants to depart. Krishna is about to leave. So he's sitting on his chariot and he's about to go to Dwarka. At that time, Kunti Maharani comes and says, Krishna, stop, please stop. And Kunti Maharani offers wonderful prayers, glorifying Krishna.
Yes,
That's famous in Srimad Bhagavatam. It's called Prayers of Queen Kunti. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8. Namaste Visham Dvadyam
Swadhyam Ishwaram Prakrite Param Alaksham Sarva Bhutanam Antarbahirana.
Amazing. Where did you learn this?
Prabhuji, Nadya Nandini Mataji taught in Mataji's group.
Oh, wonderful. So you learned all the prayers?
Yes, Prabhuji.
All the prayers. Amazing.
We are doing Rudra Stuti.
So, fourth canto.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Fourth canto. Yeah, Rudra Gita. Amazing. So like this, she offers wonderful prayers. And finally she says, Krishna, please stay. How can you leave us when all these enemies, we have created so many enemies by this war. Please stay. So Krishna hears all these prayers and he smiles. Big smile. And he continues going. He didn't want to stop. But at that time, Yudhishthira Maharaj comes. Yudhishthira comes and says, stop. You cannot go. Please stop. So at that time, Krishna stops. Because Yudhishthira was very dear to Krishna. When Yudhishthira is lamenting, I will stop. Okay. So before this, something happened. When he's offering prayers, she was offering prayers. After the prayers, Uttara comes running and says, Krishna, Ashwatthama is again shot another Brahmastra at me. And it is targeted at my embryo. And he is the only Santana Bijam, Kuru Pandavana. He is the only surviving child of Kuru and Pandava Vamsha. Please save my child.
Prabhuji, only 2 slokas, right?
Yeah.
Only 2 slokas, right? Uttara prayers.
Yeah, Uttara comes and says, no, please, Krishna, Krishna. Nanyatvam abhyam pashe yatra mrityu parasparam. I think that's the verse. There she says that I'm in trouble, please help me. But she had no survival. Maybe I'll open that verse. That very interesting verse, how she prays. Pahi pahi mahayogin Devadeva Jagatpate Nanyatvam Abhayam Pashe Yatra Mrityu Parasparam. Hey Mahayogi Krishna, Devadeva Jagatpate, O Master of the world, please, you are the only person who can give me Abhaya. Make me free from this fear. Yatra Mrityu Parasparam. When death is in front of me, please help me. And he says, Avidravati Mamesha Sharas Taptaya Sho Viho Kamam Dahutu Mamnatha Mame Garbo Nipatyatam. So, Mame Garbha, let my embryo, my child, not die. So she prayed like this. And then Krishna, he does a miracle. He is on the chariot, but he expands himself and enters into the womb of Uttara and absorbs the heat of Brahmastra and protects Parikshit Maharaj. Santana Bijam Kuru Pandavana, the last survivor. And this Parikshit sees darshan of Krishna in the womb, even before birth. That is the glory of Parikshit Maharaj. And Parikshit becomes famous as Vishnu Ratha, one who is protected by Lord Vishnu. So when Parikshit was born, he started searching, who is that person who came in the womb and protected me? Is he that? Is he? So he was doing Pariksha of everybody. So his name became Parikshit. So that is an interesting pastime which happened. So then Kunti's prayers, then Yudhishthira's lamentation. Yudhishthira's feeling so bad. Because of me, it's because of me that so many millions of soldiers are killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. I am the culprit, I'm sinful, I'll go to hell. Like this, he was lamenting like anything. Vyasdev came and consoled, many rishis came and consoled. Krishna personally tried to console. but he was not consoled. And here in Bhagavatam, Krishna is called as Adbhuta Karmana, one who performs wonderful activities. What is the wonderful activity performed here? He did not allow Yudhishthira to get convinced. That's an amazing activity he did. So Krishna entered the heart of Yudhishthira Maharaj and didn't let him get convinced by the words of Vyasa, because Krishna had another plan. He had a plan to glorify Bhishma like anything. My devotee Bhishma, he is lying on the bed of arrows there, and he has been misunderstood by whole people, everybody. And now he's lying on the bed of arrows. Now I want to glorify him. So Pandavas, all of you, please dress yourself with golden ornaments, golden helmet, and golden chariot, silk garments. Come in such a luxurious way. Seeing you, Bhishma should become happy. It is Bhishma's desire to see you as the kings. Fulfill his desire. So then all the Pandavas dress very gorgeously and they come to where Bhishma was lying on the bed of arrows. Remember the 10th day, Bhishma fell, and even now he's there surviving. So Pandavas come there to Bhishma. Bhishma there is lying on the bed of arrows. Right? So Bhishma is asking for water, and Arjuna shoots an arrow and gives water to Bhishma. So Bhishma starts speaking wonderful instructions. Bhishma's instructions, it is called. So you'll see all the kings, Pandavas, and sages from all over the universe, they assemble there. Vashishta, Vishwamitra, Parashurama, all the great souls whom we hear about in the Shastras, they all came there. It was like a all universal assembly of sages coming there. So at that time, there was no WhatsApp, there's no Facebook, there's no internet. But suddenly news went everywhere and they all came through the divine channels. It went and they all assembled there to hear Bhishma Dev speak. Even Vyasadeva was personally present. Krishna was also personally present. So, see, Bhishma is lying on the bed of arrows. He is in such pain. But I'm sure all of you must have experienced pain of some needle pricking you, your feet, and that pain stays for so many days, and you cannot walk, you cannot keep your feet on the ground, you have to limp and walk. Now you can imagine steel arrows, thick steel arrows, piercing the body from front to back, right? So and from all or from neck portion up to down. In such a situation, such pain, nobody can survive. And generally, when we meet such a person, we feel pity. But Bhishma Deva, when he sees Pandavas coming, he empathizes with Pandavas. He says, hey Pandavas, how could you suffer? How kashtam aho nyayam yadyuyam dharma nandana jivitam narhata klishtam vipra dharma achyutashraya. Such sufferings you have undergone in your life, if somebody else would have been in your position, they could not have survived. You could survive only because of three things: Vipra, Dharma, Achyuta, Ashraya. In every situation, you take shelter of devotees, Vipra, Dharma, and Achyuta, Krishna. You have taken shelter of these three. That's why you are able to maintain your composure. Otherwise, somebody else, so much atrocities, going into vanavas, poisoning and killing and putting fire to your home. So many things you underwent. Even with the presence of Arjuna, Bhima, and Krishna, you suffered. It means what? This is the will of the Lord. Your sufferings was not because of karma, it was by the will of the Lord. Because how is it possible that where Krishna is there, sufferings is there? The suffering is there because of will of the Lord. The Lord was using you as an instrument to teach a lesson to the entire world. So that's why you suffered. So it's all Sarvam Kalam Kritam Manye Bhavatam Ched Vinishchitam Sapalo Yad Vashe Loko Vayuri Vidhanavali. Just like clouds are controlled by the wind, all of us are controlled by the will of Krishna. So who can be independent? We're all just like a bull is tied to a rope, to a stick. Like that, we are all tied by the ropes of the Lord, and we are like puppets in the hands of the Lord. So then he glorifies Krishna. He says, this person who is sitting next to us, he is Supreme Lord. Eshavai Bhagavan Sakshad Adyo Narayana Puman He is the Supreme Lord, Adi Narayana. Right? But he is appearing like an ordinary man, like a Vrishni. He is appearing like a person in the Vrishni Vamsha. Gudascharati Manusha. Like an ordinary man, he is traveling amongst us. But please understand, he is the Supreme Lord. Like this he says. And after glorifying Krishna, actually, after glorifying Krishna, then Bhishmadev answers a lot of questions Yudhishthira Maharaj asked. So Yudhishthira Maharaj had asked many questions about Rajya Dharma, Stri Dharma, Varnashrama Dharma, Paro Dharma, Bhakti, all these questions he had. So Bhishma Deva answers all those questions. And it is said in Mahabharata that he speaks for more than around 50 days. Pandavas will come in the morning, so morning to evening, Bhishma will speak. And they go back, take rest, and again come back in the morning. So like this for 50 days, they were hearing Krishna Katha from Bhishma. And after hearing from Bhishma, Yudhishthira's lamentation was gone. He became very pacified and peaceful, shant. And at the same time, Uttarayana started, Sankranti, Makara Sankranti. So the time when the sun goes to the northern hemisphere, it starts his northern journey. That time came. And when that time came, Bhishma Dev understands, now it's time for me to leave. Bhishma had Ichha Mrityu. That's why he could survive for so many days. So now he feels that now it's time for me to leave. So he stops speaking and focuses fully on Krishna. He absorbs his mind on Krishna and he glorifies Krishna. So there's beautiful prayers of Bhishma Dev, which comes in the 9th chapter, 32nd shloka onwards. Iti matirupakal pita vitrishna bhagavati satvata pungave vibhumi swasukham upagate kvachid vihartum prakritim upeyushiyad bhava pravaha. He says, oh Lord, let my mind be absorbed in you. Bhagavati satvata pungave, who is the Supreme Lord. Vibhumni swasukham upagate kvachid vihartum prakritim. So for your own transcendental pleasure, you come to this world in Prakriti and then do your transcendental pastimes. But you're not affected by this Prakriti. You're transcendental. Tribhuvana kamanam tamala varnam ravikara gauravarambaram dhatane vapuralaka kula vratananabjam vijaya sakhera tirastume navadya. He remembers form of Krishna in a particular way. Tribhuvana kamanam, one is most beautiful in the whole world, whose color is like that of a tamal tree, and who's wearing dress which is like shining like a sun. Ravikara gauravarambaram dadani, like the morning rising sun, how it looks, yellow color, like that. And Vapuhu alaka kulavratananabjam, its body is covered with sandalwood pulp, and his face is very beautiful, with curly locks of black hair. And Vijaya Sakhe, hey friend of Arjuna, Ratirastume anavadya, let me have great attraction to you. Like this, he offers prayers. He remembers the past time where Krishna was taking his chariot wheel and chasing at Bhishma. And Bhishma was happy to see that and he stopped fighting. He remembers all that. He remembers gopis. He remembers Yashoda. He remembers all the pastimes, all the devotees. And he glorifies gopis, thinking that Krishna will become very happy because most dear devotees of Krishna are gopis. So when he hears like this, then when Krishna hears gopis glorification, he becomes very happy. So devotee wants to give pleasure to Krishna. They don't want pleasure for themselves. They want to give pleasure to Krishna. That's the mode of Bhishma. So even while dying, he wanted to please Krishna. So and then he stopped praying. And then just looking at Krishna's beauty, his life hair came out of his body and then went to the Krishna Loka. In this way, Bhishma quits. So there's a very wonderful pastime which happened, which comes in Bhagavatam. So Yudhishthira was now pacified. Yudhishthira become peaceful. So Krishna and all go back to Hastinapur. And then Yeah, so and Krishna also departs to Dwarka. Okay, so Krishna goes back to Dwarka, and then Dwarkavasis are also in great separation from the Lord. So much long time. Krishna went to Virata, and after Virata he went as Shantidut, and then war became inevitable. Then he fought the war, and then after the war he stayed in Hastinapur for a long time because Subhadra was in pain. One of the reasons why he stayed back was Krishna's sister Subhadra had lost Abhimanyu. So she was in pain. So another reason why he felt I should stay here to pacify Subhadra. So, Subhadra's son Abhimanyu was dead. So in this way, he pacified Subhadra, and then Yudhishthira Maharaj, Kunti Maharani, and all the great devotees. And he goes to Dwarka, and he stays in Dwarka. And then after some time, Yudhishthira Maharaj does Ashwamedha Yajna to establish his supremacy everywhere, so that everywhere people follow Dharma. That was the reason, right? Krishna wanted to establish Dharma through Pandavas. So Yudhishthira wanted to ensure that everywhere Dharma will be there. So he went everywhere. He sent Arjuna everywhere and established Dharma through Ashwamedha Yajna. So he sent the horse, and anybody who is not accepting the horse, not accepting Yudhishthira's subordination, fight. So like this, he fought with the remaining envious people, subdued them, and brought them under Yudhishthira Maharaj's control and established Dharma everywhere. Of course, there are many other finer pastimes which happen, like fighting with Babruvaha, his own son. All the things come, and then finally, what happens here? After the Ashwamedha Yajna, when everything was, Yudhishthira was the king. Vidura, if you remember, Vidura had gone out of Hastinapur. He didn't want to fight. So he was insulted by Duryodhana. Being badly insulted by Duryodhana, he left home and he went to different holy places. Kashi, Varanasi, Vrindavan, Haridwar, everywhere he had gone, Prabhasha, everywhere he had gone, and he comes back to Hastinapur to meet Dhritarashtra. So when Vidura comes back home, Yudhishthira feels as if his life has come back. Because Vidura was so dear to Pandavas. He was very, very dear. He was a good counselor. And Vidura had protected Pandavas like a bird protects the eggs with its wings. Yudhishthira Maharaj says this in Bhagavatam. He says, just like a pakshi protects his babies with the wings, like that he protected us. Because he was the one who protected them during the Varanavata incident and in Vanavas. So many times he protected. So that was Vidura. And Vidura was also Yamaraj. So he wanted to, of course, there is a long story, I'll not get into that. Maybe sometime later we'll discuss when we discuss Bhagavatam. So Vidura wanted to be compassionate on his brother Dhritarashtra. So Vidura wanted to give some final advice. Whole life Dhritarashtra heard from Vidura, but his heart did not transform. He remained the same person, attached to his sons and property. So now Vidura wanted to try one last chance. Generally, a sannyasi, a renunciate, should not come back home. But Vidura, just for the sake of Dhritarashtra, he came back. And he came back and he met Dhritarashtra and he speaks very strongly. He speaks to Dhritarashtra. You'll see here. So Yamaraj became Vidura, and then Vidura is preaching to Dhritarashtra, and Dhritarashtra is listening. So Vidura says, see, Dhritarashtra, have become old. Your eyesight has become weak. Your teeth are falling. Your digestion power is weak. You cannot digest all the food, and your throat is making sound like gur 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 sound. So how long do you like to live like this? And now with all your sons killed, and you're living like a dog. You're living like a dog in this palace, eating the food thrown by Bhima. What kind of life is this? It's such a nasty life. Why are you staying here? So quit this home immediately and aspire for self-realization. Hearing the strong words of Dhritarashtra, Dhritarashtra gets vairagya in his heart. He feels, yes, what Vidura is telling is true. I should follow what Vidura is telling. At least now I should follow. So then Dhritarashtra in the night, okay, in the night after he heard all this, he tells to Vidura, I want to leave. So Dhritarashtra, Gandhari and Vidura, all three leave the home, leave the palace and go to the forest. So they, three of them go to a very secluded place in the forest. They make a small hut and Vidura guides him what to do. So Dhritarashtra follows Vidura's advice and he does meditation. And within 7 days, Dhritarashtra, with his mystic power, he creates fire in his body and burns his body along with the hut. And Gandhari, being a chaste wife, she also enters the fire and goes with the husband to the next destination. So it is said that Dhritarashtra attained higher destinations. He didn't go back to garden. He went to higher destinations up to Brahmajyoti because he did so much offenses. So how can he be going to Vaikuntha? Not possible. So Dhritarashtra and Gandhari depart. And after this, Vidura also goes to holy places. And then he also ends his life and goes back to Godhead. And goes back not to Godhead, but to his post as Yamaraj. Yamaraj is a pure devotee. So he goes back and resumes his service as Yamaraj. So why Yamaraj is giving this service of punishing people? Because he'll be considerate. Like devotee will not give unreasonable punishment. He'll give reasonable punishment. So that's why Krishna chose devotee like Yamaraj to be at this post. So like this, Dhritarashtra and Gandhari quit. Vidura also quits. So now Krishna's departure.
Prabhu, why Gandhari has given the curse to Krishna?
Yeah, so actually in Pandavas and Kauravas, actually Gandhari was very pained seeing that her 100 sons are dead. And she felt that Krishna is the cause of all this. Because of him, because of his advice, all these sons are killed. So she curses Gandhari that your dynasty will also die after 36 years. They will fight among themselves and they will be finished. So like this, Gandhari curses. And Krishna says, thank you, Gandhari, for this. Actually, I was thinking about this. Because my Yadu Vamsha is so powerful that nobody can defeat them. Nobody can kill them. And I was wondering, how can I take them back to Godhead? So you gave a very good idea that they'll fight among themselves and they'll go back to Godhead. So thank you for this. You made my job easy. Like that, Krishna responds. So Gandhari's curse, Krishna is not obliged to any curse. Krishna is beyond all the curses. So no curse can touch him, no sin can touch him. He's such a transcendental personality, Supreme Lord. He's like the sun. Like sometimes people go and pass stool and urine, and the sun rays come in touch with the sun, the stool and urine. But the sun rays will purify that stool and urine. Sun will not get contaminated. Similarly, Krishna is not affected by any curse or sin. Krishna is beyond all this. But he accepted. Okay, let this be the cause by which the Yaduvamsha will end. So when Vidura was touring the place, at that time only, actually, Yaduvamsha and Krishna departed, but he did not tell the Pandavas. Later on, Pandavas come to know. How? So let me tell what happened. So Yudhishthira Maharaj, when he did Ashwamedha Yajna and he was a king and all, so everything was very happily going on. It is said that when Yudhishthira Maharaj was ruling the kingdom, it was so wonderful. It is said that Nadya Samudra Girayaha Sa Vanaspati Virudaha Falanti Aushadhi Sarva. Let me open that verse. Beautiful description is there here. It is said.
Prabhuji, even after the Ashwamedha Yajna happened, half golden squirrel came.
Okay. I don't know much about that, but here it is described. Kamam Vavarsha Parjanya Sarva Kama Dugamahi. Earth was giving all the desires. Like earth gives us trees, fruits, grains, then the water, rivers, ponds, all this. So she was giving everything in abundance. Sishishusma Vrajan Gavaha Payasudasmatir Muda. The cows, the cows, they were so happy, their udders were full of milk, and when they were walking, milk used to flow. And then it becomes kitchen, muddy. So that was opulence. Nowadays, milk is 50 rupees a liter. At that time, milk was flowing like anything. So that was opulence during Yudhishthira Maharaj's time. So that is real opulence, Prabhupada says here in the purport. It was like heaven at that time. When Duryodhana was ruling, it was not like that. But when Yudhishthira Maharaj ruled, it was like that. So grains and vegetables. Yeah. Grains and vegetables can sumptuously feed a man and animals. And a fatty cow delivers enough milk to supply a man sumptuously with vigor and vitality. If there is enough milk, enough grains, enough fruit, enough cotton, enough silk, enough jewels, then why do people need cinemas, houses of prostitution, slaughterhouses, etc.? What is the need of artificial luxuries of cinema, cars, radio, flesh, and hotel? Has this civilization produced anything but quarreling individually and nationally? See, in modern Kali Yuga, what is happening? Only fighting, right? Quarreling. Has this civilization enhanced the cause of equality and fraternity by sending thousands of men into hellish factory and war fields at the whims of a particular man? And nowadays, people work in factories with heavy machines, so much pollution, so much noise. So we don't need all this. These are all artificially created. But we need these things: milk, cows, grains, fruits, flowers. That is real opulence. So nowadays, people are eating in plastic plates, paper plates, but before they were eating in golden plates. Or copper plates, conch plates, bronze plates. But nowadays, it's just degrading like anything. So opulences are reducing. Right? But at that time, it was very, very wonderful opulence. Nadya samudra girayah savanaspati virudaha falani oshadhi sarva kamam anrutu tasyavai. According to Rutu, the trees were producing fruits and flowers and everything according to the Rutu. But nowadays is a Rutu, like it is summer season, but rain is coming. It's not good. So, according to Rutu, the season should be there. But if it is changing, then it is not good. So, in Yudhishthira's time, everything was happening perfectly. So, that's how Yudhishthira was ruling the kingdom. So, at that time, Yudhishthira Maharaj had a desire. What is Krishna's next plan? Because we are his devotees, we are supposed to fulfill his desire. Arjuna, you go and meet Krishna and then ask what is the next plan so that we can execute accordingly. So Arjuna goes, but he does not return even after several months. 7 months passed. Arjuna didn't return. And here Yudhishthira Maharaj is wondering what is happening. And Yudhishthira Maharaj starts seeing bad things happening around him. Dogs are crying. The foxes are also crying and vomiting fire. The crows are crying like anything, shrieking sound, and that's creating terror in hearts of Yudhishthira. Donkeys are braying. There's no clouds, but still there is thunder coming, and sometimes the clouds will rain flesh and blood. So, and sometimes wild animals are circumambulating Yudhishthira Maharaj, and the left side of the portion of Yudhishthira Maharaj is twitching, like twitching of the eyes, twitching of the body, or the left side. It's inauspicious. So all these things, apashakunas, were being seen by Yudhishthira Maharaj and is wondering what is happening. And he asked Bhima, are you able to see all this? What is happening? How is it possible? When Krishna is there on this planet, how is this possible that this can happen? Then Yudhishthira Maharaj's heart suddenly started doubting. Has Krishna gone? Has Krishna gone? So at that time when he was thinking like this, Arjuna comes. And Arjuna is putting his head down and he said, his eyes were moist, tears in his eyes. And Yudhishthira Maharaj said, Arjuna, how are you? You seem to be dejected. What happened? Is everything all right? How is Vasudeva? How is Ugrasena? How is Devaki? How is Satyaki? How are all the residents of Dwarka? They must be very happy. So is everything well? How is Krishna with all his devotees? He must be enjoying. Please tell. Like this, he asked several questions. So then he asked, are you seem to be very dejected and morose. Did something happen to you? Did somebody insult you? Did you fail to give protection to somebody? who was in need of help? Did you fail to give shelter to some woman who wanted to take shelter of you? Or did you not give food to children and old people? Or like this, did you fail to keep your promise to somebody? So like this, he told about 10 things, 9 things, which may be the cause of dejection for Arjuna. And finally, Yudhishthira asks, is it because Krishna has left? Tell me, Arjuna, what is the reason? Is it because Krishna has left? And hearing this, Arjuna breaks down, starts crying. He said, what can I say? He says, Vanchitoham Maharaja Harina Bandhurupina Yena me Abhartam Tejo Deva Vismapanam Mahat. Arjuna says, what can I say? I have been left by Krishna. Harina Bandhurupina. He was like my friend, my relative, but now he's gone. Yena me Abhartam Tejo Deva Vismapanam Mahat. And now Krishna has left, all my power is also gone. And that power by which even I could defeat the demigods, Indra and all the demigods were also amazed by my power. I pleased Shiva by fighting with him. I fought with all the Rakshasas, I killed them. That same Arjuna, but now I am powerless. Tadvai dhanushtaishava sarato hayaste soham rathi nrapatayo yata amananti sarvam kshanena tadabhut asadisha riktam Bhasmam hutam kuhakaradham ivaptamushyam. Arjuna says, I was the same Arjuna, same Gandiva, same Rath, same chariot, same everything. But I have become powerless. While coming from Dwarka, I have been defeated by coward men. I was coming with all the queens and then some coward men attacked and I could not defend. My arrows were not even touching them. And they defeated me easily and took all the queens of Krishna. What can I do? Krishna is gone. Like this, he remembers Krishna's all the pastimes. So he's remembering, and then Yudhishthira asks, please tell me what happened. And there, Arjuna says, actually, when I was in Dwarka, Ugrasena started seeing all the bad omens there also. All Apashakunas were seeing. And Krishna advised, we should leave and go to Prabhasha. Let's go to Prabhasha. And let's do some yajnas there. So everybody went to Prabhasha. And then they were there. And somehow some quarrels started between them, between the Yadus. Satyaki and Kritavarma, they started fighting with each other and they killed. Satyaki killed Kritavarma. Seeing Satyaki killing Kritavarma, actually they went and drank some, you put some rice in water and keep for 1 day, 2 days. It becomes like alcohol, it becomes like intoxicating. So they drank that and they lost their temper and then they started fighting with each other. And then they killed each other with rods, which are like, with bamboo, which are like iron rods. Previously, Samba, who was the son of Krishna, he did a prank. He put a pillow in his tummy and wore a sari like a girl and went to the rishis and said, Rishis, can you please tell me what is this, boy or a girl? And the rishis, they got annoyed and said, you, Samba, you're playing pranks with us? You will deliver an iron rod. And this iron rod will become the cause of destruction of the Yaduvamsha. Like that, they had cursed. And Ugrasena, when he heard this, he ordered them to powder this iron and throw it in the ocean. But by the power of the ocean waves, they had come on the bank, and then from those small particles, bamboos had grown at Prabhasa Kshetra. So they took this bamboos and they fought with each other, and hardly few survived. Krishna, Balaram, Uddhava, Daruka, just a couple of them, and I. Then Krishna and Balaram, they also decided to end their pastime. So Balaram, he sat in meditation and he assumed the form of a snake, Ananta, and entered into the ocean. And Krishna also wanted to end his pastime. So he was sitting under a tree and he gave final instructions to Uddhava. There's one wonderful section in Bhagavatam. Krishna gave Uddhava Gita, and it also comes in 3rd canto Bhagavatam. Very heart-touching section where Krishna gives final instructions to Uddhava. And he remembers Vidura, he remembers so many personalities. And he says, Uddhava, that I have gone everywhere, but I could not go to Badrikashram. So you please go to Badrikashram and convey my greetings to all the sages and give my instructions to them. So Uddhava, with a heavy heart, he goes to Badrikashram, and Krishna was sitting there. And one hunter, he was hunting and he sees Krishna's feet from a distance and he feels it's like an animal. And he shoots an arrow and it hits Krishna's feet. And Krishna does the Leela of manifesting blood from his feet. And then Krishna also departs from there. And then Arjuna was like heartbroken when he sees Krishna leaving, Balram leaving. And Krishna had told Arjuna that you take all the queens and go to Hastinapur, Indraprastha, and then you settle them there. So then by the order of Krishna, he did all the final rites to everybody, and then finally he was going back. So at the time, this cowherd man defeated. Actually, Krishna only took the form of cowherd man, and he took all the queens back to Godhead. So this whole thing was like a, yeah,
They were Abhiras, right? Robbers.
yeah, robbers, like cowherd men. It's in Bhagavatam it says cowherd men, and they were like robbers who attacked Arjuna. But actually, they were all Krishna. But who can touch the Lakshmis of Dwarka? Sakshat Lakshmi, Krishna's queens are Sakshat Lakshmis. So who can touch them? So Krishna only came and took them in a different way. And then Arjuna, when he came to Hastinapur to actually meet Yudhishthira Maharaj, he felt very dejected, he felt very bad. And when Yudhishthira Maharaj hears that Krishna has left, he says, there's no purpose for us now to live in this world. Without, he says that, Yasya kshana viyogena loko hi apriya darshana. One fraction of separation from Krishna is like vacuum for us. It's like nothing appears very interesting. Just like mrataka pratyateyata. Just like when the soul leaves the body is not at all attractive. So like that, this word is not appearing attractive. Loko hi apriya darshana. So then Yudhishthira Maharaj decides to enthrone his grandson Parikshit as the king, and he does Abhishek of Parikshit and puts him as the king. And he takes Vajra, son of Aniruddha, as the king of Mathura, and then he leaves. Yudhishthira Maharaj gives up all his garments, wears a simple dress of a mendicant. So here is Krishna leaving, ascending back to the spiritual world. And here is the right side, you see the photo of Yudhishthira Maharaj asking Arjuna what all happened. And all the Durnimittas, Apashagunas are being seen. So there is a scene happening there. And then finally, Yudhishthira Maharaj wears the dress of a mendicant. And he is leaving. And seeing Yudhishthira leaving, all the Pandavas and Draupadi also dress like mendicants. And they also start to leave, and all the residents of their kingdom, they're pained to see this. So, but Yudhishthira Maharaj doesn't even look behind; he just straight walks forward, and one by one, everybody leaves. Okay, so the 5 Pandavas and Draupadi leaving. They walk up towards the north, to the Himalayas, and beyond. They go to Gandhamadhanam Parvata. They walk for several months. So walking, they come, and they were climbing this mountain of Gandhamadana, which is a very tall mountain. On the southern side of the Meru mountain, this Gandhamadana mountain is there. And it was familiar to them because they had already stayed there during the Vanavas. But now they are very tired, so much of traveling for months, living like ascetics. So they're walking. And suddenly they saw that Draupadi fell and she died. Bhima was just walking behind Yudhishthira Maharaj. Bhima asked, what happened? Draupadi is dead. Should stop. Yudhishthira says, no, you have to walk ahead. Because death is surely going to come to everybody. We cannot look behind. So Srila Prabhupada writes in one purport in this section, 15th chapter of Bhagavatam, that everybody has to fly his own plane. See, now we have association of devotees, we have friends, family, parents, relatives, everybody is there to help us. But when the time of death comes, we have to fly our own aeroplane. Nobody will help us. Like if you're like in the Air Force, when you're flying aeroplane, in the training time, they'll train you. There'll be some assistant next to you, helping you. But in the war time, you fly your own plane. So you attack the enemy, you defeat, right? So similarly, now that we have association of devotees, we are getting to chant Hare Krishna, we get to read Bhagavatam together, we read Mahabharata together, discuss together, we have support. But at the time of death, we may not have anybody. We should be prepared for that time. So now Draupadi, when she falls, Yudhishthira Maharaj doesn't even bother to do final rites, so he just walks ahead. But Bhima asks, why did Draupadi fall? And actually here is some important lesson, not spiritual lessons, but at least moral lessons which we can learn that one should avoid making. So Yudhishthira says, like, Draupadi, although she married all 5, she was showing extra affection to Arjuna. That's why she fell. So then they continue walking, and then Sahadev falls. And Bhima asks, why did he fall? Because he was very proud of his intelligence and learning. That's why he fell. After some time, Nakula falls. Why did he fall? Because Nakula was proud of his beauty. He thought he is the most beautiful. Because of that pride, he fell. And then Arjuna falls. Why did he fall? He was very proud of his power, and he had taken a vow that in one day I will defeat all the Kaurava army, but he could not fulfill that. That's why he also fell. And then finally, Bhima also starts falling, and when he was almost fallen, he says, why am I falling? So because you did not consider about others' food. You ate first, and you never bothered about others' food. So that's why you are also falling, like this. So these are all very small, minor details, minor faults, you can say, but they're being highlighted here just to show that one should try to lead a pure life. Because even small things will matter after we die. Okay. So that's being highlighted. Pandavas through their life are highlighting that one should not make such mistakes. And finally, Yudhishthira Maharaj alone was climbing up. Then he hears a sound coming of a chariot, Indra's chariot coming there. Then Indra says, come, climb this chariot, come back to heaven. But when dog was following Yudhishthira Maharaj says, see, this dog has taken my shelter. And as a Kshatriya, my duty is to give protection to the dog. See, and there's nobody here. So if I come, then I have to bring this dog also. And then they say, no, it cannot happen. The dog cannot come. It's against the rule of heavens. No dogs in heaven. But Yudhishthira was insisting. So then seeing the determination of Yudhishthira Maharaj, the dog transforms into Dharmaraj, Yamaraj. Sakshat Yamaraj, father of Yudhishthira, comes and says, I was testing you. You passed your test till the last breath. You are following Dharma. So nobody has followed Dharma like this. You are the most powerful, most virtuous king. So come and let's go to heaven. So Indra takes him to heaven. And when he goes to heaven, he was surprised. He sees Karna sitting there. Duryodhana sitting there. The Kaurava was sitting there. So wondering, and he asks, where are my brothers? Well, all the opposite party was there, but brothers are not there. And Indra says his assistants, you take them to one place. So the Yudhishthira Maharaj goes to one place. And suddenly it was dark. And it was dark, and then foul smelling, bad smell is coming, dead animals. And then, what is this? Where have you brought me? And they say that it is hell. Hell? How come hell? I don't want to be here. Let me go out. But when I was about to turn back and go here, please stop. Your presence is making us very peaceful and happy. Please don't go. Please stay here. And he turns back and he sees all his brothers there. And Draupadi also there. What are you doing here? We are suffering here. Please don't go. Please stay here. And Yudhishthira was wondering, how is it that good people are suffering and bad people are enjoying like that? And when he was thinking like this, suddenly Indra and all the devatas come. And then suddenly the hell transforms into heavenly place with nice flowers and gardens, flowers and lakes and ponds and fresh breeze flowing. Then you got confused. What is this? And Indra says, actually, it was an illusion of hell. It's not actually hell. Okay. So your brothers are so virtuous. How they can go to hell? It's not possible. But
Babuji, it was the punishment for lying to Dronacharya.
yeah, so I'll come to that. So Indra says that everybody has to have a glimpse of hell before going, because the nature of mortal world is that nobody can live a perfect life. While living in this world, nobody can live a perfect life. So even if most perfect person, he has to have a glimpse of hell. He'll not suffer like hellish people, sinful people, but small glimpse of hell will be shown. So that's because in the war, you have to use some tactics. You have to lie. You have to do some cheating. They're all minor things. So because of which your brothers had a glimpse of hell in illusion. It is not reality. So through this, all the traces of small bad things are gone. So it is said that those who are very pure, very pious, and little bit sin is there, so they are first shown glimpse of hell and then they go to heaven. Okay, so that they can enjoy everlasting happiness. Yeah. Yes, Gauranga?
Yes, Prabhuji, but like you told, Yudhishthira Maharaj, he was told by Vidura that he had used some tactics such as lying to Dronacharya. But Krishna, absolute truth, he had only told Yudhishthira to lie.
Yeah, correct. So actually, Mahabharata should be seen from different angles. So when if you see from the spiritual angle, yes, there is no fault in the Pandavas. They are pure, perfectly pure, no mistake they had done, because they followed the will of Krishna. So that's from spiritual point of view. Now from the moral point of view also we can learn lessons that one should try to live a very pure life. Okay, so one should not, this is for moral people. Those who are not devotees, those who are just following some morality, for them it is important they should follow the moral codes of conduct. So Mahabharata teaches lessons for both categories. Now we are learning Mahabharata from spiritual point of view, transcendental point of view. But when you are speaking Mahabharata to other people, one may also have to give lessons of morality. See, you should not do cheating, you will have to suffer, like that. So both kinds of lessons can be drawn from Mahabharata. Okay. So in this way, they were shown a glimpse of hell and then they went to heaven. So then Indra said that your karma is such that you will stay eternally in heaven. That much punya you have got. But because you are pure devotees of the Lord, this is not the ultimate destination for you. You are devotees of Krishna. Krishna is also there. He also came there. So because you are devotees of Krishna, your duty, Narada is telling to Pandavas, your duty is always to serve Krishna wherever he goes. So you'll spend some time in heaven, but you will ultimately go to where Krishna wants you to go. And you'll continue to assist in the pastimes of Krishna, life after life. That is your only business in life, to serve Krishna. So in this way, Narada tells Pandavas that you go with Krishna. And then Krishna also smiles and Pandavas also feel very happy and blessed. And in this way, Mahabharata comes to an end with the departure of Pandavas and going back to Godhead. So in summary, what we have discussed, is a huge section of Mahabharata starting from Adi Parva, beginning, the dynasties of the Kurus, all the Vamshas we discussed, and then Bhishma, and all the birth of Kauravas and Pandavas, the nature of the Kauravas and Pandavas, gambling match, forest war, and then so many incidences in forest, and then the Virata Parva, Ajnatavasa, and then finally Udyoga Parva, where they tried to stop the war, and then actually the war itself we discussed for about 3 sessions. And after the war, today we discussed about mainly punishment to Ashwatthama, and then we also discussed about Yudhishthira's lamentation and Bhishma's instructions, Bhishma's departure, and then the destruction and Yudhishthira's performance and destruction of Yaduvamsha, Krishna's departure, Balram's departure, and Arjuna's lamentation, And then finally, Yudhishthira Maharaj, understanding the will of Lord Krishna, he also departs. And then they go to heaven, and from heaven they go to higher destination, to the next place. So in this way, they gradually elevate themselves to the higher and higher destinations. So from Mahabharata, we can learn that how to become good devotees, surrendered devotees. So that's what we can learn from the life of Pandavas. That's the lesson we have to take. We have to become good devotees of Krishna. So that's what we can learn from Pandavas, that no matter what difficult situation comes, we will be devoted to Krishna. So Jayastu Pandaputranam Yesham Pakshe Janardhana. So because Pandavas were always taking shelter of Krishna, they became victorious. Similarly, we also always take shelter of Krishna, and ultimately we'll become victorious in the battle of life. So we'll end this samsara and go back to Godhead. So that is the lesson, main lesson we can learn from Mahabharata. And where Mahabharata ends, Srimad Bhagavatam begins. Because Mahabharata ends with Parikshit Maharaj becoming the king. And then Parikshit Maharaj's life becomes the cause for the advent of Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's how Srimad Bhagavatam starts. So for Kali Yuga, it is said that more important than Mahabharata is Srimad Bhagavatam. Because Bhagavatam contains so many other topics and one may miss Krishna. But Bhagavatam is such a book, it's full of Krishna. Beginning to end, every word of Bhagavatam is Krishna. Okay. So we should also read Bhagavatam in detail. So I think that today Mahabharata is ending. So the future can be Bhagavatam Katha, Bhagavatam series. What do you think of this?
Hari Bol Prabhu.
Yes,
Yes.
definitely, Prabhu.
Huh?
We can have the Bhagavatam class.
Yeah, Bhagavatam. Some specific chosen sections. So some things can be sequential, some things can be specific sections we can target and learn them in detail. Like so many pastimes, Parikshit Maharaj, Kunti, Bhishma, then there is Brahmaji, Narada's life, then there is Vidura, there is Maitreya, there is Uddhava, Prahlad Maharaj, Daksha and Lord Shiva's pastimes, Vritrasura's pastimes, and Prachetas, and so many unlimited pastimes. And finally, Krishna, Krishna's pastimes, 90 chapters, 90 pastimes. They're like wonderful book. So I was thinking we can do Bhagavatam once Mahabharata ends. So I'll let you know when we start. May not be next week, but the week after that, we may start with Bhagavatam. Okay.
Next week.
Yeah, because coming week, His Grace Radheshampur is expected to be in Bangalore. So we'll be busy with his programs.
Okay.
Okay. So just for temple programs. And if you wish, you can join on Zoom. I'll let you know. Some classes will be on Zoom. And by the way, tomorrow evening, His Holiness Bhakti Vignan Goswami Maharaj is giving a session for youth, especially. So that session is on Vedic adventure in Russia. Because Russia is a communist country. It was such a difficult place to preach, and how in that difficult place Krishna Bhakti has started. Now today morning, Maharaj is in temple now. He's with us. He's in a wonderful association. Morning he was telling that now there are 50,000 devotees in Russia chanting Hare Krishna. Wonderful. So how from communist country to having 50,000 Hare Krishna devotees in Russia? That's a miracle. That's an adventure. What happened there? So it will be very, very thrilling. It will be to hear. So we invite you. Come tomorrow evening 6:30. I think the message is already put in the group, so you can join and register and join for that. We have only limited 100 people. So first come, first serve. Whoever comes first, you can join.
OJ, I already registered.
Hare Krishna. Okay, thank you.
Prabhu, I have one question.
Yes.
Prabhu, you said that means those people who died on the battlefield of Kurukshetra as they were seeing the Krishna in front of them. So all they went to Godhead,
Yeah.
or you said that they were in the Swarga, sitting in the Swarga.
Yeah, so after that they go. So tathaiva chanye naraloka veera ya have Krishna mukharavindam netre pibanto nayanabhiramam Parthastraputah Padamapurasya. So Partha Astraputah, being shot by the arrows of Arjuna, they were purified. And Padamapurasya, they went to higher destinations. That's called. And Netre Pibanto Nayana Viramam. So they were drinking the beauty of Krishna from their eyes when they were dying. So they went to higher destination. So those who were innocent, those who had no envy to Krishna, they went to spiritual world. But those who were envious of Krishna, they might have gone up to Brahmajyoti, but not to Vaikuntha planets or Goloka Vrindavan. So they were gone to higher destinations. So that's explained here.
Prabhu, what is Brahmajyoti?
Brahmajyoti is like in between material world and spiritual world. It is it's like a light where there's only Jyoti. One goes and experiences Shanti there. There is no Ananda.
It means it is not eternal.
To that Brahmajyoti they go.
It
Okay.
is not eternal over there in Brahmajyoti.
It is eternal. It is eternal. But there is no service. So that's why there is no Ananda. Okay, out of Sat, Chit, Ananda, Sat is there in the Brahmajyoti. Eternity is there. But that service to Krishna, the soul goes there and just sits silently. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So he is not doing any service. He is not talking to Krishna. He is not serving Krishna. He is not worshipping Krishna. There is no activity there. So there is no Ananda. Ananda comes in activity, not by silence. Right? When you do spiritual activities, material activities give misery. Okay. Brahmajyoti gives you Shanti. But when you do spiritual service to Krishna, that gives you Ananda. So because of no happiness of service, the soul from Brahmajyoti can fall down again to material world. Arohya krishrena param padam tato patanti yadaha. So the soul can again fall down to the material world.
Yeah, Prabhu. Prabhu, one more question I had. Today I was
Yes.
preaching one person about Bhagavad Gita, but
Hmm.
that person actually asked me a question that Sri Ram came in Treta Yuga. So Sri Ram is greater than Krishna. So I didn't had any argument to tell about this topic.
See, chronology doesn't determine superiority.
Yeah.
Okay, suppose you are there now in Sholapur. Suppose Chief Minister comes today to meet you, and then after 1 month, the Prime Minister comes to meet you. So who is superior? Because Chief Minister came first, he is superior.
No. Yeah.
So these are all baseless arguments. So from Tattva point of view, Krishna and Rama both are Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is no difference in one sense, but Krishna is the original Supreme Lord from whom all the avatars come. Etejam shakala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Rudayanti Yuge Yuge. So all the amshas and kalas, expansions come from Krishna only. So that's told in Bhagavatam. So we should refer to Tattva. Okay, so chronology doesn't determine superiority. So we should understand Tattva properly.
Okay, Prabhu. Sure. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, he said
Yes.
that Krishna has come with all opulences, but Lord Rama means doesn't come with his all opulences. So what is that?
Lord Ram is also having all the opulences. Okay, but Lord Ram comes with a specific purpose. Mainly, His Holiness Maharaj was telling yesterday, Ram Navami festival, that Lord Ram especially comes to experience Karuna Rasa, compassion in his pastime. But when Krishna comes, he brings all the rasas. He is Rasaraj. Akhila Rasamrita Murtihi. Krishna is called. He's called Rasaraj. So all other avatars come with particular mood and rasa, but Krishna, when he comes, he brings everything because he is complete Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is the difference between Lord Ram and Krishna.
But Prabhu, Krishna has all the 64 qualities I've heard, while Sri Ram and all the incarnations didn't had that much qualities.
I have 60. All the Vishnu Tattvas have 60 and Krishna has 64. And those 4 extra qualities are Venu Madhuri, Rupa Madhuri, Leela Madhuri, and Venu, Rupa, Leela, and Bhakta Madhuri. I'll show you one PPT. See, these are the four exclusive qualities of Krishna. Wonderful pastimes, Leela Madhuri. Surrounded by another devotees, Bhakta Madhuri. Attracting all by playing on the flute, Venu Madhuri. And extraordinary beauty, Rupa Madhuri. These 4 extra qualities are there in Krishna, which Vishnu doesn't have. Leela Madhuri means his pastimes are so wonderful. Like Yashoda's pastime, Krishna's pastime with Yashoda, Damodar Leela, Makanchor Leela, very, very charming. So this, Krishna, you never see Vishnu doing such pastimes. Only Krishna does such pastimes which are charming to the heart. And Bhakta Madhuri, Krishna is always surrounded by devotees. He is never alone. You don't see Krishna alone. And we should never keep Krishna alone. He will not be happy. He should be with cows, peacocks, monkeys, or friends, Gopas, or Radharani, Gopis. He's always surrounded by devotees. Bhakta Madhuri. And then attracting all by playing on the flute, Venu Madhuri. So Venu is so attractive that hearing the Venu, all the cows, Gopas, they come running. It is said that when he plays that particular note, I think the 5th note, the flowing objects stop, the solid objects melt. So that's the effect it produces. Yamuna, who is flowing so fast, she becomes Mandagati, starts in flow slowly so that she can hear. And Govardhan melts hearing the flute of Krishna. So that is Venu Madhuri. And then Rupa Madhuri, Krishna's extraordinary beauty. Krishna is so beautiful that even Mahavishnu wants to take darshan of Krishna. Right? So that is the amazing. Krishna gets attracted his own beauty. That is the beauty of Krishna. So these are the 4 qualities. Hence, Krishna is the supreme personality of God. Okay.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Somebody is saying we want to hear Gop Kumar's story. We would like to hear. Okay. Let's say sometime in future we can plan. From Brihad Bhagavatam, Gop Kumar. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much to each and every one of you. Aniket, Branda, Anchuman, Raghunath,
Puji.
Sauranga, Bharati, Rakesh, Anuradha.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, I have a
Krishna.
doubt.
What is the doubt?
Prabhuji, Nama comes first or that avatar comes first?
Nama, name.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Oh, both are non-different. Both come simultaneously. Because Abhinatvam Nama Naminaha, Krishna and his name are non-different. But one special thing about Nama is more easily accessible. The holy name of Krishna is very easily accessible than Krishna. Because right now I cannot see Krishna, but I can chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So by chanting Krishna's name, I can be in touch with Krishna. But when you want to see the form of Krishna, you have to go to the temple and see Krishna. So in that sense, Hari se bada Hari ka naam. Jis sagar ko bina se tu ke पांद सके नहीं राम कूद गए हनुमान उसी में लेके हरि का नाम हरि से बड़ा हरि का नाम. So there's one song written by one Vaishnava poet. He says, no, Hanuman, see Lord Ram, when he had to cross Lanka, he made a bridge. But Hanuman, when he had to cross Lanka, he just said Jai Shri Ram and jumped. So Hari se bada Hari ka naam. In the sense that it is more easily accessible and more merciful. So that's why Lord's name is more powerful than the Lord, it is said. So you should chant Hare Krishna. You are chanting Hare Krishna?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, how many minutes you are chanting?
Prabhuji, 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay, very good. Very good. Continue.
Prabhuji, before Rama come as an avatar, his name was there. Means
Yes.
his name was popular.
Yeah, it's popular. Even before Krishna name, Krishna's name was there. People knew about Krishna. Because it is already mentioned in the Shastras.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Yeah, because see, in the future, Kalki is going to come. We already know Kalki is going to come. So Kalki's name is already there. Okay. So all these are eternal names. Okay.
Okay,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Krishna,
Thank you very much.
Hare
And already
Krishna.
very
Hare
late.
Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.